Greetings, brethren, and welcome to How to Get Better at Puzzles. So, you want to get better at puzzles. Puzzles are kind of tricky for you. It's hard to see stuff on the board. Well, don't worry. This series is going to show you all the skills that you need to get better at puzzles and skyrocket your puzzle ELO. We're going to show you the tactics that you need to learn, what you should be looking for, and just general good ideas for puzzles. So, let's get into it. We'll start with this one right here. The most important thing right off the bat is to see, okay, what squares do the king have that he can go to? So, this rook covers this entire file, so we know that these two squares are covered. Also covered by the knight, right up here. We also know by the knight that this square is also covered, right there. So both of these are covered, so the king is kind of in a barrier right now. So now we want to try to make a check that can cover both of the squares that the king are on that cannot be defended. So we can see that if we bring this rook up to this back corner over here, the knight defends the rook, but then the rook covers all of these squares, knight covers this square, and all of these squares are covered. So we know that that is the solution. So now, moving on to the next one. Okay, the rook here is attacking the queen. So most people, they would just try to move their queen out of the way. That should be our first idea. It's like, okay, so can we give any checks? That is now what we do. We see, okay, where can the king move? King can only move to like these two squares, so the back rank is a little weak. So if we can try to get like a rook or the queen or something to the back rank, that will be mate if they can't get back to defend it properly. So another thing you can notice is like, okay, we have all of these pieces, but they're not really doing anything. They're all, we don't have to worry about them because they're all out in the corner. Same thing with this rook. It's not really, we'd have to move it here and here. So we know that it probably has to be the queen. So now, we think, okay, what checks do we have? Well, we have this check. That just loses the queen, though, because the king will take. But we have this check with the queen. Checks are the most important thing to look for in puzzles because they are forcing moves. Forcing moves are very important because if you're like, okay, I'm going to threaten back rank over here, but then the opponent can do something to prevent it, like move their queen back to defend or something like that. So checks are the most important things because they are forcing moves. So we think, what happens here? Check. The king can't move anything, so he has to block. So he has to check with this rook. He has to block the check with the rook, and then he has to block the check with the bishop there. So we can see, okay, here he doesn't, he just does that, and then he would have to move the bishop next, and that would be mate. So we go on to the next one here. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to look at all the squares that the king can possibly go to. So this pawn covers this square, this pawn and the queen both cover that square. The bishop covers that square and this square. So the king only has like this square and this square to go to. So we know this pawn and this pawn cover those squares. So you might be tempted to do a queen trade here. What checks do we have? We have this check, loses the queen. This check, loses the queen. This check, loses the queen. But with this here, this check, if I move this queen here, it will cover this square, this square, this square, this square, well, and the square that it's on because it's protected by the bishop. And then this pawn here covers the last square. So that's how you know that that is the checkmate. The important thing to know is that there is a solution for all these puzzles. In a normal game, there might not always be a solution, so it's harder to look for it. But in puzzles, this is what is key. Okay, once again, we're going to count the squares that the king can move to. So here are covered. Okay. That's good. We got to think, okay, what can we do for checks? Well, this bishop can't really do anything. King's on a dark square, but so is this bishop and this queen. So that's how you know that's kind of the area that you should be going for. Because, like, this is a check, but it's not mate. Important thing to see in puzzles is what is lined up with each other. And this queen is lined up with the bishop. So we can go here, and we can give a check. And then all of the squares are covered. So there you go. And we had a little bit of a cut there, but we are back. White to move. So what are we doing here? What squares can the king move to? Well, right now this pawn covers this square, this bishop covers this square, and this square. So actually, we got to give him a check. This rook can't give any checks. The pawn can't give any checks, but this rook is available, and according to all the squares that are covered, the king can only move along this straight line. So we know that the rook, which goes along the straight line, can do that. So that's pretty good. Okay, another time here. Okay, we see these knights are over here, no checks. what checks do we have? With the queen, this is a check, but this is also a check right here. And it appears that the geometry is just perfect, that the queen will cover all of these squares and deliver checkmate. There it is. Okay, so we have, black to move. Our queen is under attack. Once again, where can the king move? King can move to this square and this square, but queen move, defended by everything. There we go. So these are the kind of ideas that you're looking for in puzzles. And I think that's good enough for now. Maybe stick around for the next episode. I'll do some increasingly difficult puzzles, and we can grow and learn how to do the more difficult ones. But these are the basic principles that you have to be looking for. Looking for forcing moves. That is the key. Where can the opponent king go, and what moves can I force things to happen, like that back rank checkmate there. Okay, thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one.